Hi guys, and welcome back to The Insight. Yes, I've been gone for a while. Please understand that life has been happening, pandemic, all sorts, but I'm going to make my best efforts to not do this again. Yeah? Okay. In today's episode, we're going to get into bad upbringing, and I've interviewed many different people for this one with so many different backgrounds and interesting stories. So let's get into it.
I was born in Morocco. I'm 54 years of age, so I'm Moroccan. My memory of being young, my dad was there, my mum was there. My dad was an alcoholic. As for my mum, she was so different. She was very brutal, very abrupt, very angry. She used to beat me up. So when my father left when I was 7, I was so sad and I was so angry. I was really very, very scared. I remember, hearing my mum's footsteps, and I would literally wet myself. That's how afraid I was of my mum. Because if she comes and the house is not cleaned the way she wants it, and it's not like any normal cleaning, literally I have to scrub all the pots, I have to scrub the walls until my hands were bleeding. I have to clean all the rugs, massive rugs, take them upstairs, dry them, cook. Very little age, you're talking about 7, 8. So my mum met someone else when I was just about 7.5 years old. And that man was like an MP. He was a very powerful member in my country. My mum started drinking, and our house became one big party. Lots of men, lots of police, powerful people, lots of women, lots of prostitutes drinking every day. So my mum used it as a business. She made it a whorehouse. She made money out of it. So I'm standing there, holding the tissues, waiting for people to come in, getting the money, getting it ready for my mum. When she comes, she counts the money. And that's how I was brought up in that environment. I'll be stuck there and they will call me in, and I grew up like that. I started learning from them prostitutes, learning to smoke, learning to drink, learning to manipulate men for money, and I become a drug addict and an alcoholic from a young age. And I remember hating going home. I hated my mum with vengeance. That abandonment, my mum's brutality and lack of compassion and love has contributed. I had this low self-esteem, and a low self-worth because my mum always told me that I was ugly and I'm never gonna make it. So I grew up to hate myself. I had this emptiness, this uncomfortable feeling. So all my childhood I tried to buy people, tried to buy love, tried to buy my friends. I remember going to school, carrying all little sweets and chocolates and giving them away. Please, can you be my friend? Please don't leave me. I was so insecure and codependent. My first addiction really was love, because I wanted to be loved and I wanted to be accepted so much. And drink and drugs really helped. It got me out myself. It made me more confident. I could talk, I could dance, I could laugh. And I remember coming over here, losing all my luggage. I couldn't speak a word of English. All my mum gave me is £60. And I slept in Victoria Station. I had no clothes, no change of clothes. I was sad, I was cold, I didn't know where I was. And then I met 2 Moroccan girls. And then they introduced me to prostitution. They used me, started selling me to the Arabs, in the city and making money out of me. But because I was brought up that way, my mum told me that I was nothing. I let other people use me. So my whole life, really, until 16 years ago, people ruled my life. I had a lot of peer pressure. If you tell me to lay down in front of a truck, I would. That's the kind of person I was. Because I was always seeking people's approval, always tried to get validation from people. Oh yes, it affected me a great deal because, it's really important the way you were brought up in life. And because my mum didn't teach me any better. She just taught me, that life is all about take, take, take. And she always told me that men are there for money. You must use men. You don't sleep with people unless they have money. And, and that's what I did. I just used people. Like my mum told me, it was really in my ears, it was always with me. Because I was so so angry, I guess, with what I've been through. It came out sideways. So if I don't get my way, I would get upset. You know, like a little kid throwing his toys out the pram. So I didn't know how to conduct myself around people. I didn't know how to explain myself how I'm feeling. So either I would show anger or I would be quiet, like passive aggressive. You know, today I can be assertive, so it made me who I am today. I'm quite strong. You know, I just get on with things. I have compassion for other people. Today I'm able to help other people. I don't judge. I wouldn't put people down because they're drinking or doing drugs, because I know there's always a reason why people suppress those feelings by taking a substance. I needed safety, compassion, understanding. I didn't have any of that. Deal with your emotions, as painful as it is. Pray, find a higher power, find a friend, talk to someone. Things will get better, because drugs are not the answer. It only gets worse, never better.
Amal's interview was extremely important for many different reasons. It shows us how dysfunctional families breed dysfunctional people, and not having essential conversations with your child, separating right from wrong, can be extremely harmful for that individual. A lot of us need to understand that the norms we're taught in our home are not always normal, and many of the norms can lead to a very destructive mentality in the future. Amal said the one thing she felt like she needed that she didn't receive was care and love. Many parents don't understand that in order to make our child feel validated, we have to show them attention, because without this validation, it leads them looking for it in destructive ways.
It was very confusing, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say rough, but I don't know how to put it. It was kind of just all over the place. There wasn't really like a routine in anything. Like everything changed probably every few months. I was never settled. That's the word for it. So yeah, I was always moving around between family or just changing schools. I've been to about 12 schools now, I believe. Yeah, including college, I've been to 12. And I've just stayed with most of my mum's side of the family. So I was never really in one household. I was always being uprooted and moved to somewhere else. So growing up with my mum, it wasn't really, it was never really straightforward. I was never really there for a long period of time. Like the first 5 years of my life, I was living with her. And then from that point onwards, I was just moving back and forth everywhere. But when I was living with her, it was like, I was always scared. Like there was always a lot of tension. Like there was no relationship between us. Like even if there was love there, I wouldn't know. But like we never spoke to each other. I didn't even call her mum or anything. I just approached her with well, I barely even spoke to her. So yeah, it was difficult because even if we were in separate rooms, we still wouldn't speak. Like when we were around each other, there's always an issue, or out of nowhere she'll just outburst and complain about something. So for example, so she would, her rule, or not even rule, just how it was living with her, I would just be in my room with my sister. So I shared a room with my sister. I'll just be up there all day, every day. If I went to school, I came back home, straight upstairs. But that rare occasion where she would let me come downstairs and sit with her, or just even sit with my sisters and watch TV, it would be awkward. Like if I look in her direction, she'll be like, don't look at me. And I have to just look at the TV. Or even if I'm looking at the TV, she'll just find something to complain about. She'll be like, oh, why's your foot on the chair? Or stop fidgeting. Like, why are you breathing so loudly? Like, it was awkward. So yeah, that's why I never really went downstairs much. I experienced a lot of physical abuse. It was a majority of that really, but in the long term, there was a lot of psychological abuse that carried out with, that kind of followed me after I left her, and a lot of emotional abuse. So the things she would say was just like, I understand she's been through her own trauma, but there's things you just don't say to a child. So yeah, there's one thing she said to me when I came into care. We had a family group meeting because I was only supposed to be in care temporarily, and the last thing she said to me was, take your name off your birth certificate, you're not my child. And even though I'm used to her saying things that are worse, it's just like, sorry. And I just thought to myself, you just don't say that to a child, no matter how angry you are. Because even at the time, I wasn't really affected by it. I was just like, okay, cool. It's kind of the norm. But in the long run, I was just like, that's how much you dislike me. You could, like, you even said it in front of professional people, you didn't care. That's the one thing that always kind of stick with me. I'm quite insecure about small things that no one really notices, but I kind of overcome them quite quickly. But the one thing is my nose. And when my mom must have been about in year 8, and she went and got her nose done, she said it's because my granddad broke it when she was younger. I don't know, but she got hers done for free. And when she came back out of the hospital, I'll never forget, she was like, remind me to book you into the GP, you're going to get yours done as well, or something like that. All I remember is her saying, remind me, because you're getting your nose done. I never paid attention to my nose, so I was just like, what's she on about? And ever since then, I'm just like, I don't like the way it's shaped from the side, I don't like anything about it. So everyone else said there's nothing wrong with it, I was like, I don't see it that way. And I feel like if she never said that, I would never even have noticed in the first place. Usually people say when you've been abused, you're likely to not abuse other people, like abuse your children and stuff like that, but I'm the complete opposite. So I feel like I don't like the way I was treated, so I wouldn't want to do that to anyone else. Like, even if I upset someone slightly, I'm always like, okay, what did I do wrong? Are you okay? Like, do you want me to... I'm always quite sensitive, so yeah, I can be quite... like, my temper's quite short, but even when that happens, I always call down like, okay, are you okay, kind of thing. I don't want anyone to feel like I've done something wrong towards them. So because my mum never really showed any kind of love towards me, like not even maternal love, just nothing, and because my dad he wasn't there at all, to be honest, whenever, like, whether it's friendships or even relationships, whenever I speak to someone, for example, if it's a guy, I used to kind of fall too quickly, because if a guy could say to me, oh, I really like you, and I'd latch onto that, so I'd be like, okay, someone cares. And it's just, I would stick with that, but I always get hurt because I never look out for anything else. I was like, okay, they care about me, that's all that matters. But yeah, and I think because she never kind of taught me anything about, because not taught, but usually your mum will kind of tell you, okay, stay away from boys like this and stuff, because I never had that. I didn't really know what to do, so yeah, it was quite difficult in relationships, especially. I used to just cry, and I feel like as I've got older, I just, even if it was other little things, anything anyone said, I'll just cry about it. And now it's just like, I'm not just going to be taking that anymore. So now it's like, if you've done something, I kind of just overreact to it, because I'm like, I'm not having it. I've had it for so many years, so I feel like I've held in all my emotions, and now it's just like, I'm not holding it anymore. I just needed love, really. Like, even if it's just not telling me that she cares, just small things like hugging me or anything, just more love, and I feel like I would have been alright.
Judea's interview was also very important because it shows us what a house of neglect can do to a young woman. Judea said her first ever insecurity was her nose, and it actually stemmed from her mum telling her negative things about her appearance. This shows us how much, as children, we're sensitive to and overvalue the opinions of our parents, that it seems like gospel, and it can only lead us to either really positive outcomes or very negative ones. Coming from a house of neglect can only lead a child to lose confidence in themselves. They see the way they were treated as deserved. How they're treated sets the standard of how they want to be treated in the future, or how they'll allow themselves to be treated in general. Lack of stability in the household can only lead to an unstable individual. Many children look around at other children and wonder why their lives are the way that they are. They're ashamed that they're not like others, and it often leads people to try and recreate themselves and try to be something that they're actually not. You can't do anything about how you were raised, but you can do something about your current state. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I know I didn't speak much this episode, but I've been working on some new concepts to add to the show to keep it more exciting. So make sure you're here and you subscribe and you don't miss the next episode. Bye!